The internet has been buzzing. In fact, the whole political world has been buzzing because a Republican congressman has called for genocide in Gaza. That's right. He has actually quite literally called for genocide in Gaza. This is an official portrait of the man in question. His name is Congressman Tim Walberg. Tim Walberg is a representative in the House of Representatives, of course, the U.S. House of Representatives. This isn't some state level wingnut. This isn't local city council. This is your U.S. Congress. And Tim Walberg in the state of Michigan has called for genocide in Gaza. It is one of the most disgusting and disturbing things that I have heard in a long time. Here's what the man said. He was expressing that that the U.S. shouldn't give any more aid to Gaza. He said that the U.S. shouldn't be providing support to Gaza. And you can hear him on the audio. Now, I haven't been able to independently confirm the source, so that's why I'm not sharing it with you, but I'm going to read the quote. And he's responded and confirmed that he made a statement like this. He said it's an edited clip, so I don't want to debate back and forth about whether the clip is pristine. So I'm going to respond to what I know he said, and I'm going to respond to what he said as a follow-up. This man said, we should not be giving aid to Gaza. He said, and I quote, "It should be like Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Get it over quick." Now, if y'all don't know history, in the specifics of it, I know y'all probably heard Nagasaki and Hiroshima, but it's referring to the bombing of two cities in Japan using nuclear weapons in 1945. Hiroshima was bombed first, August 6th of 1945, and then on August 9th, Nagasaki was bombed. You're not talking about a small scale bombing here. You're talking about 80,000 people, I believe, in the first bombing, and 40,000 people in the second bombing. This was not a small thing. Hiroshima and Nagasaki is generally considered to be one of the most morally atrocious acts by any nation. It's the only time, I'll say it again, the only time that nuclear weapons have been used in war. You're talking about, and by the way, I'm just talking about direct killing when I said the 80 and the 40. That's not even counting the people who died from like radiation, excuse me. That's not counting the people who had long-term impacts. And let's be clear, I'm not just when I say people, I mean civilians. And so yes, after an atomic bomb was dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, of course, there was a quick end to things. You killed everybody, but most of the people you killed, I mean, overwhelmingly so, most of the people you killed were what? Civilians. They were civilians. So when you look at the devastation here of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, this is what a city looks like after you bomb it. Now, some of you might say that don't look that different than Gaza. There's a reason for that. There is a reason for that. The reason, of course, is where there's a current devastation and a genocide in Gaza that the world doesn't want you to see. Well, this man absolutely advocated this. Now, to be clear, it's not just cruel to call for the bombing of Gaza. It's illegal. Much of what we've seen in Gaza since October 7th, 6 months we're almost on, has been illegal. But now he's saying, don't even do it anymore. Don't slow walk it. Just kill everybody. Get it over quick. Now, he may not be calling for a nuclear weapon. I don't think he was calling for a nuclear weapon per se. But again, let's be clear. Israel has nuclear weapons. They say they don't got them. Or they don't say they don't have them. They won't confirm that they have them. And there is something called the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. We know who got them and who don't got them, allegedly. We know who's not supposed to have them. We know who's committed to not having them, but Israel doesn't care. And Netanyahu doesn't pretend that he doesn't have them. He just won't affirm the question, but he does it in a way where you know he got it. You know Israel has it. And you can go to the Negev, you can go to the Naqab, you can go to the south of Israel near Dimona, and you will see the nuclear plant. So Israel could do this. So that's why we can't take this lightly. It's not like telling, somebody who doesn't have the capacity, or even someone who is in uranium enrichment stages. No, Israel could blow up Gaza like Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And so this is wildly irresponsible, but it reflects a certain kind of commitment that the right has to destroying Palestinian lives and expressing no care about it. We had another a Republican, right, who said that there were no civilians, no innocents in Palestine, no innocents in Gaza. Brian Mast, who said there's no innocent Palestinians. Can you imagine saying that? There's no innocent Palestinians. This is the same logic. Just blow them all up. Because that's what we did with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. If y'all don't know about this, look it up. Study the Manhattan Project. Study the technology and the politics and how they all welded together to create a moment where the United States is responsible for killing hundreds of thousands of people, civilians. And we haven't done it since 1945. But this man's trying to bring it back. Well, Congressman Walberg, Tim Walberg, responded. I want to give the congressman a chance to articulate his position. Here's what he said on Twitter. His full statement on reporting of my comments on Gaza. Again, notice how they frame it, right? Here's a full statement on the reporting of my full comment. In other words, he's framing this as a question of how we report it as opposed to what he actually said. The man is being slick. But I'm going to tell you what he said anyway. He said, as a child who grew up in the Cold War era, the last thing I'd advocate for would be the use of nuclear weapons. In a shortened clip, I used a metaphor to convey the need for both Israel and Ukraine to win their wars as swiftly as possible without putting American troops in harm's way. My reasoning was the exact opposite of what's being reported. The quicker these wars end, the fewer innocent lives will be caught in the crossfire. The sooner Hamas and Russia surrender, the easier it will be to move forward. The use of this metaphor, along with the removal of context, distorted my message, but I fully stand by these beliefs and stand by our allies. So many things wrong with this. But first, it's just complete BS, right? This is what you do when you say something and you get caught, and you got to try and square a circle. You got to try and make it make sense without sounding like the monster that you were being when you made the claim. The last thing I'd add, again, do I think he was advocating for nuclear weapons? No, I think he was advocating for genocide. I think he doesn't want a nuclear bomb to drop, but I do think he said, to win their wars as swiftly as possible. How do you win the war swiftly in a few days like Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Through Netanyahu's planned strike in Rafah, a huge widespread ground invasion that promises, according to everybody who's watching, from diplomats throughout Europe to human rights organizations to military experts, they all say very clearly this is going to be a humanitarian disaster. They want to wipe people out. They want to push people into the Sinai. They want to basically empty out the Gaza Strip and allow it to be ethnically cleansed. And he doesn't care how it happens. But this is the right-wing position. This is the right-wing argument. And this is why it's shameful.